Hi, I'm Mark. This is my story. Many people have heard segments of my story over the course of the last 6 months, and many people have said you need to get your story out. And today I'm taking that initiative to get it out. So thank you for taking the time to hear my story, see what's happening in my life. And if you have had anyone or know anyone that's ever been affected negatively by divorce or the judicial system, the court system, or anyone who's used the court system against the other in a civil case, or if you know anybody that's been affected by the Facebook group here in Dallas-Fort Worth called Are We Dating the Same Guy, DFW, please share this video with them. I think they'll find it enlightening. You're also going to find many subsequent videos that are going to be more detailed with the specific areas of my life. And you can go into more detail there if you want to. Otherwise, this is just going to be a summary. But also, if you know anybody that just loves to help people out, I'm certainly looking for that as well. This is a story about me and my family and how we've gone from poor college students all the way to successful business people with a beautiful little family to a theft from the estate. Now having my daughter secreted from me and not having had seen her in the last 143 days now, I guess it is. Of course, this message will be growing older by the day, but this is December 23rd. I'm filming this video. Probably not going to post it till the 24th, so as of that time, December 23rd of 2024, I have not seen my daughter in 143 days, and that's not okay. It's not okay. I'm also about to be foreclosed on. I no longer have a truck. I've sold my truck. I've sold my car. I've lost my Harley Davidson. I was in a car accident 3 weeks ago, where my Jeep was T-boned by somebody running a red light. And I also just had my gallbladder removed a couple of weeks ago, emergency gallbladder surgery. So I've had a lot going on, but that's not the story. The story is yet to come. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you a little background. Background is, I'm a poor kid from Mineral Wells, Texas, who was determined not to be poor. And I put myself through college, worked hard, got a degree in forensic chemistry from UCF, where I met my wife, Kelly. She was also in the same forensics program, and she followed me around from there on, right? I say followed me around. We moved to Florida State together, got degrees from Florida State, and then moved on to Seattle and Boston and back to Texas, and where she got her career started as well. And that went very well until 2016, where she was laid off. But we developed a great business plan. We were going to go into business for ourselves. So the following year, in 2017, I quit my job and we started our own business. And she was going to be a realtor and mom and run the business, and I was going to go do the manual labor and all the building the business on the exterior side of the house, right? So great, growing great. 2017, business was fantastic right out the chute. Lots of money coming in. Hailstorms. We started roofing houses. We didn't know we were going to be roofing houses, but we started a roofing company. And 18, big trip to Europe. I mean, everything's going great. 19, a little bit of a challenging year. One big project took way too much time and too much money. But that's how business goes. And then 2020, we got the COVID, and but it honestly worked out very well for us. We've had a very successful year in 2020. And in 2021, I discovered something, and that was I discovered theft from the estate to the tune of $900,000 from my IRA. Now, that's all community property. It's a community property state. Only thing is, no one asked permission to take the money from the IRA. So this is problem number one. Needless to say, when I found out about this, I was a little upset. I made a phone call to Kelly, and Piper was in the car, and it was not a pleasant phone call because I found out that there's basically $1 million gone. And she just didn't want to talk about it. Shortly thereafter, she was looking for attorneys and ultimately ended up filing for divorce. September 10th of 2021, Kelly actually filed for divorce. And a month and a half later, she found an apartment around the corner, moved into an apartment. And frankly, everything was good. We did week on, week off with Piper. We've done that ever since. I have it for a week. Kelly has it for a week. When Kelly goes out of town, I take her extra. If I'm doing something different, she takes her extra. Goes great. Dog comes over. Fantastic. 2022, that's great. That's what happens. But there's no real movement on our divorce. 2023, we get down to trial. And unfortunately, there's not a good case for Kelly. Because if you think about the reconstitution of the funds that were taken from the estate without permission, they have to be put back into the state like they're there. So they're just fictitiously there. And you think about our home. Our home is a $750,000 home here in North Dallas, and we only owe $66,000 left on the house. So there's a good $700,000 left in the house. That's 350 split, right? Well, when you think about throwing another $900,000 in there and splitting that, which is not there, that means she gets her $450 that's not there, and I get my $450 that's not there. That means she has to make up my $450. So as she tries to make up the $450, it leaves her with nothing left over. So that's not a very good case for her in a divorce. And I think everything still at this point is very amicable. But she requests for us to reconcile. Let's just give it a shot and reconcile. I, of course, say yes. We non-suit. So we non-suited in February of 2023. We're no longer filing suit against each other, no longer getting a divorce. We go on dates. We go to counseling. We have 5 counseling sessions. I go privately. She goes privately. We go together. We do these things. It comes out that, during this time, let me just make sure you understand, during this time, we're meeting at her apartment a lot. She apologizes for the affair she had in 2012, which is something she had reluctance to do the entire time since 2012, and I was thankful for that. We would meet there for nightly walks. We would go, hang out on the patio, hang out inside and watch TV. She shared a key with me at this time, very, very much opening herself up to me and the reconciliation. But unfortunately, during one of our sessions, our counseling sessions, it came out that she was never intending to reconcile. It was all a ruse created by her and her attorney in order to get me to forgive her of the theft of the estate and to say that it was okay. And I was being recorded on every conversation we ever had. Even the counseling sessions were being recorded. It just came out, and it wasn't a good thing, especially you play with someone's emotions and to not that I was very hopeful, really, honestly, but still, I was giving it a try. At least I was giving the effort, and knowing that her side was just a big ruse was disappointing, to say the least. So then, we go back to separation. Then she files again, June 1 of 2023. She files for divorce again. And so now we get our second petition for divorce and my counter petition for divorce. And then, so now we start going through those motions again. Of course, during our split times, we both had our tries at relationships. I had met several different people, and so did Kelly. And Kelly actually ended up that spring, the same time that we were trying to reconcile, she was terminated from her job because she was having relations with a married man who was one of her customers, and the married man's wife called Kelly's work and expressed it to them, and she ultimately lost her job for just improper practices and probably improper expense reporting, some things like that. But it was just, she lost her job. Of course, she needed help with rent. During that time, I even paid for rent, paid her to pay for rent, just because it's the right thing to do. It's Piper's mom. And so the divorce proceeds. I have met a woman by the name of Jennifer Miller back in 2022. We dated for like maybe 2 months, I guess, maybe 2.5 months. And it didn't go very far after that. She unfortunately has had some significant trauma as a child, and I think it played a toll on her. And anyway, she, I think, harmlessly posted a post on, "Are we dating the same guy, DFW?" And that post harmlessly turned into something so much more detrimental and defaming of me, right? So then we go into the spring of 23. I meet another woman. She's a CPA by the name of Amy Sewell. And Amy Sewell is a very, what's a good way? She's very strategic in everything that she does. We did not hit it off. I think that she liked me a lot more than I liked her, and unfortunately it didn't end the way she wanted it to, so she became very vindictive, and she started using do we have enough, what's it called, Are We Dating the Same Guy, DFW, Facebook group, which has, by the way, 160,000 women in it as of my last check. And that's a lot of women. And she posted a lot of things on there that were not necessarily true. But I'm going to go more into her later. So just stay tuned for that one later. But we'll get on to this one. Now, as we progress through 23, and she and I don't work out, Amy and I don't work out, at some point, Amy goes to Kelly and reveals some private things to Kelly. And then Kelly proceeds to go to the police and have me arrested for burglary of a habitation in May of 2023 when we were non-suited and she'd given me a key. So because I'd had a key and because I'd gone there, she's gotten me for burglary of a habitation. I don't know how this is sticking. Many lawyers I talk to don't know how it's even gotten to this far along, and I'm certainly in desperate need of proper legal representation that's going to fight for this and get this thing done, because it doesn't look good for me. I've never been in trouble before in my life, and now here I have this issue. Again, now we've got this Amy Sewell. I had no idea she'd gone to Kelly, and I'd sent her a message, and in that message was really kind of mean and nasty, and probably used some profane words against her or towards her because of all the posts that I found out about on this Facebook group. I read them. I saw them. She posted my picture. She posted pictures of my daughter. She inked out her face, but she posted pictures of my daughter on there. I told her to take them down. I would use some cuss words in there. She went to the McKinney Police Department, or the Allen Police Department where she lives, to report it. And they said, no, this is just, you pissed somebody off and we're not doing this case. That's what they told her. But now that Kelly has contacts in McKinney and now these women are colluding against me, they have Detective Jenkins from McKinney Police Department. Yes, Detective Jenkins, if you see this video, I'm calling you out on this. I had Amy Sewell bring the complaint to McKinney. And so Amy Sewell brings the complaint to McKinney because they want to stack a charge on me for harassment. So they get a warrant for me for harassment because of that text message. Little did I know that, at the time that all these things had happened. I just now know, I can look back and see the evidence and see that Amy Sewell, CPA, lied to the police. And lying is not good for a CPA. Really not good for a CPA. She lied. I don't know if Detective Jenkins knows this or not, but she lied. She has to have a McKinney address to file a police report in McKinney. Otherwise, she needs to go back to Allen. But Allen wasn't going to do anything because Allen realized what it was. But they're just trying to throw in extra charges on me, so Detective Jenkins says bring it up here. In defense of Detective Jenkins, just in case he doesn't know this, I can't see why he doesn't know this information, but Amy never mentions anything about the Facebook post. She says that the reason I'm sending her these nasty messages is because she's a witness to my burglary charge. And that's not true, because even my messages were sent before I even knew she was involved in the case. Before I even knew I had that case, really. So I sent those messages to her about Facebook, and she never reported anything about that in the police report. But when they asked her what's her McKinney address, guess whose address that she uses? Mine. She uses my address. She lies right there on video. It's on video. You can see her saying it perfect right there, saying that she lives at my address. She does not live at my address. She's a liar. And she's trying to do this to be just add on and to be a man-hater, I guess you could say. But so be it. She's a liar. I wonder if the Texas State Board of CPAs know that. They don't yet, but they will soon. Because lying in ethics is a major, major part of being a CPA. As anybody who watches it knows, as a CPA knows it, right? So anyway, we proceed forward through 2024 now. We move on to 2024. Things are going great. I get an attorney, a different attorney. I get a different family attorney to fight. I got the attorney that's going to fight my burglary charge, right? Well, then one day I'm out to lunch with a friend of mine. And as we're leaving the parking lot at Kelly's in Allen, I look over and I see Kelly, my wife, in her car in the parking lot. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you see that? So I called the girl I was with for lunch and, did you see Kelly in the parking lot? And then we pull out and Kelly follows us all the way back to her house. And when I get out of the truck, Kelly turns around and goes back to Stacy Road and hauls butt. Anyway, the next day I'm arrested for stalking. So I don't know how you can stalk your wife in Texas. My attorneys don't know how you can stalk your wife in Texas. There's no protective order. There's no restraining order. In 26 years that I've known Kelly Hedrick, we've never had a fight to call the police. We've never had a physical fight at all ever in the history of our relationship ever. We have, even like last year when she tried to get a protective order against me, it was a non-violent protective order, and there's no violence whatsoever. And now all of a sudden, I'm a burglary of a habitation, and I have now a stalking charge. Something you have to know about in Texas: stalking charges are second felony charges. Second felony charge, because it's a third-degree felony. The first one was a second-degree felony. And anyway, if you have a felony, you have to go to the court of that first felony in order to get bond set for the other one. Well, this new attorney I hired in the summer of 24 never showed up for my bond. Never. 35 days after being incarcerated, the courts felt sorry for me for not having bond, and they appointed me a court-appointed attorney. And the court-appointed attorney took about a week and a half to get the bond, habeas corpus put in for me, and finally my bond was set at $250,000. Never been in trouble before in my life. Never committed a crime. Never been convicted of anything. Never even been charged with anything. And here I am being put with a $250,000 bond. Okay, that's a hefty penny. Fortunately for me, my brothers came down and bonded me out. Something I forgot to mention when we were at Florida State, we met a gentleman by the name of Quincy Adams. I'm going to have an entire segment on Quincy Adams, but during this time when I was in jail for 61 days in August and September of 2024, never been in jail before. My cellmate was a murderer. Really interesting. I think the guy's an angel personally now, but interesting to be in jail. The 61 days went by. Nobody paid anything for me. In fact, Quincy Adams turned against me. He was my best bud from Florida State. I confided in him for everything. He turned against me, and he subsequently took all my data about my divorce, about anything that Kelly wanted, and gave it to Kelly. Off my computers. He had access to my computers. He had access to my bank accounts. He actually gave my bank credit card number to somebody I was dating in the past, and she used it for medical bills. Those charges were ultimately reversed. But it was very, very, it's a very odd situation where why would somebody would turn on me like that? And he's been relatively neutral about the entire divorce until now. There's a lot going on with Quincy. When they had me arrested for violating my bond conditions in October 29th, because it was an entire plot to have me arrested, Quincy filmed me being arrested. He knew when they would be here at my house to pick me up. He filmed me being arrested, went to my daughter's school, picked her up from school, took her to a restaurant bar, sat at the bar, and showed her the video of me being arrested. What a turd, showing it to my child. Well, not only do I think he's a turd for it, I took him to court for it. Me, myself, I had to, because now I can't afford an attorney, so I'm now considered indigent. So I didn't have an attorney, but I presented it to the judge. The judge issued an injunction on him to stay the hell away from me and Piper, my home, and Piper's when she's at Kelly's, to stay away from Kelly's home as well. So he's not even allowed to contact her indirectly or directly. So a victory to get that toxic cancer away from my daughter. It's pretty interesting how this divorce has turned so bad, especially from someone who proclaims to be a nice person, a good, lover of Christ and grace and all of that. I'm not going to tell you I'm perfect. I didn't burglarize her house, that's for damn sure. I didn't stalk her either. That's for damn sure too. And the bond violations I committed for being arrested for a third felony is because when I first got out of jail, I called my daughter after not having had talked to her for 61 days. Well, I couldn't reach her because Kelly blocked all my numbers, and so then I reached out to her on Snapchat. And Kelly intercepted the message and said, "You are not supposed to be talking to her. You have bond conditions." I'm like, I don't know what these bond conditions are. So I went up and got my bond conditions from the court because they never handed them to me on the way out. And it says that I'm not allowed to have relations. I'm not to initiate, maintain, or whatever it is, any minor. Any minor. I'm like, what? Related or not? I'm like, what is this bond condition? Now I have an attorney that won't go to the judge and get these bond conditions removed. I think they just gave me the wrong bond conditions. They gave me the bond conditions of like a pedophile. No, I can't have porn. I can't have sex toys. I mean, what is this nonsense? Why are these my conditions? It's really bizarre. And so I can't have internet access. So I think they just gave me the wrong bond conditions. And every attorney I talk to says that should be objective number one, but not with my current attorney. That's a court-appointed attorney. He doesn't think it's wise for me to do that, and I just don't know how someone could sit through Christmas and not be wanting to fight for someone's child to be with their father, because she's supposed to be with me this Christmas, and she's not. So that's kind of where I am. That's kind of my story of where I am. I didn't get into too many details with each of the segments, but I've had to pay two $25,000 bonds. No. They were $250,000 bonds. I had to pay $25,000. I get out of jail, and Quincy has called my insurance company, who I have a claim with, for a flood that occurred in my house in November of 23. They didn't get to me until January of 23 or 24. So we've been working it then, and they've had several months that they were not responding back to me. Then I've spent several months in jail. So I've got a claim to finish, but Quincy took it upon himself to report me as being a fraudulent claim. So the first thing I had to deal with was an inspection for an investigation from my own insurance company because of what he had called them and told them. I don't know exactly what it was he told them. I just know he did. And they were investigating me for fraud. Fraud. They've now since closed it. I'm not being there, but I still have to finish my home. The other thing is, they called my customers, told my customers to go somewhere else. Mark would be not available to work his company anymore. It took away all my customers. So now I got to start from scratch with my customers. And at Christmas time is not really the best time to do that in my business. Now, the other thing is, I got court-appointed attorneys. You know how that goes. I've never been in the situation I'm in right now since I was in college. And I feel like I'm right back to where I was in college, where I can't afford anything. I got to watch every single penny I spend. I've actually gone down and gotten on food stamps because I literally have no money. What I did have left over in my IRA I used for legal bills so far. My money really is locked up in the home. And so until I sell the home, I won't really have any money. I have some work coming in January, late January, but it's going to take a while to get that. But ultimately, there's so many things that have to be done here. Civilly, my attorneys, oh my gosh, I need attorneys to help me fight this thing. I've got to get this, are we dating the same guy? DFW has got to be regulated. Oh my gosh. I'm sure there are so many other men suffering from these nasty, horrible things people say. There are people posting on there, I've never even heard of them before, posting like they know me firsthand. But, you know, when Amy Sewell takes it upon herself to call the people that post on there, called every one of them, gotten through to every one of them, and actually called one I just started dating back in September of last year, and she stopped dating me because of whatever Amy told her I was doing, right? So, not okay, it's not okay. I don't want this to be anyway something that separates, you and your friendship you might have with Kelly. That's not the point. The point is to bring out the facts and let you know what's going on with me. It's about me. It's about what's happened to me. Can you believe that I hired an attorney and paid him $25,000 to represent me, and he never showed up for my bond? Ever. He never showed up until the day he wanted to get off my case, and he didn't even know I was out of jail, and I showed up the same day. And he tells me, he goes, "Yeah, Mark, so we're gonna. It's just not gonna be best for me to be on your case." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And he says, "And about your family case that I'm representing you on, I'll once we get this off and we get transferred over, I'll get you an invoice, and you might have $1,000 left over from $11,000 retainer. I might have $1,000 or $2,000 left over." I'm like, "I wouldn't know. You haven't sent me an invoice yet," even though he's supposed to send me an invoice on a monthly basis. So he obviously just took all that money from me. I've since hired another attorney that has literally done nothing for me yet. I've asked for immediate emergency orders for temporary orders. because we got a new case, and when we got a new case, that's what happens, and you have to do that, and she's yet to do that for me, so it's not good. But I'm just in a pickle. I'm in a pickle, and I'm getting my story out. I'm down to riding my Vespa right now. I don't have my Jeep. My golf cart got crashed by my daughter's friends in the summertime, so it's just about fixed though, but it's still a cold ride. My transportation is my Vespa. Thank God I still have my Vespa. And thank God I also have that temporary restraining order against Quincy. So things are kind of looking up. I don't have a gallbladder anymore. I can't have any more gallbladder attacks. But thanks for listening. And I do want you to follow and share this with people and make sure that you look at the other things that are going to be specific details about this case. Like you're going to get something on Jennifer Miller and what all she has done, claiming that as soon as I got out of jail, I went to Cottonwood Creek Baptist Church and was chasing her and her family around, harassing her, yelling that I was going to kill her. She wrote this in an application for a protective order, which she did not pursue, because the video evidence from Cottonwood Creek is completely of the contrary. Because I did not even think of this woman while I was there. I was there to shake John Mark's hand because John Mark called me while I was in jail, and he's like, "How are you holding up, man? How are you able to do it?" I'm like, "Well, I have to." It's like I don't have a choice. I have to. That's how I'm able to do it. So I was there to shake his hand, and little did I know I was going to have a constable showing up at my house 2 days later, that I was running around chasing her around church with 8,000 other possible witnesses, that I was threatening to kill her. Quincy, too, has told my daughter that I was threatening to kill her. Oh, wait, I forgot. Something big, major. When they strategically had me arrested for violating my bond conditions, I was arrested, and within hours, Quincy was back at my house because of the plan that he and Kelly had to burglarize my house. There's something they were after. I still don't know what they were after. I don't know what they were after. They were after something, and I don't know what it was. And I think it was my phones. I think it was something in my safe. I had cash, tons of cash in my freaking safe that day because I knew I was going to go to jail and I had to have my bond money. So he was trying to get in my safe. He didn't even know I put a camera in my closet. He didn't think my cameras were even working. He had a conversation with Kelly on speakerphone in front of my camera on my patio. Caught every bit of it. Him drinking and driving with my daughter and Kelly she was basically condoning it. I mean, it's crazy. So there's going to be a whole video on that one. You're going to see it. I'm going to link the videos to it so you can see him, getting a ladder from the neighbor to crawl in through an upstairs window to break into my house. And then the cops being called by my niece in Wisconsin, who was watching the cameras from Wisconsin. And them calling him out of the house. It was pretty fascinating. I just wish that they didn't have it plotted that way, where they said that, oh, it's community property and Kelly gave him permission to be in my house. But they told the police it was for some of Piper's things. Piper's things are not in my closet. They're not in my safe. And Quincy has the code to my safe. He just didn't have the key to my safe. You gotta have both. So, surprise, Quincy. So, anyway, that's my story. It's horrible. It's horrible these things are happening to me. And it's something else I want to say, that I've always been a believer that, isn't it funny how certain people are always just having things happen to them? And I was being cynical about that, because it's like, get off your lazy butt and make it happen, make things happen, because that's the way I feel about life, making things happen. I digress. I changed my mind on that. I understand now. Sometimes shit just happens to you. And this is just happening to me. A lot of this is just happening to me. So, thanks for listening. Hopefully that explains a few things. And hopefully you know that I got my chin up. I don't think I'm going to do 25 years in prison like they offered me. They offered me 25 years in prison. Ultimately, I'm hopefully going to be able to hire an attorney that's going to be able to fight for me to not go to prison. Okay, especially for burglarizing my apartment. So I love you guys. May God go before you always. Thank you for listening.